Just an interesting thing that you were saying in your prayer there, Sal, that whatever is shared would help along the way. And the thought just struck me on some of the churches, how the preacher might say, if you didn't get anything from it, you're not spiritual enough, and kind of just, get the attention off themselves. But really, have I dedicated time? Have I spent time on my knees before the Lord? Yeah, I have, but hopefully enough. Okay, so I wanted to look at a bit of the passage from Exodus chapter 15. I wasn't going to read the whole thing, but I suppose since there's fewer children, maybe we should. So it's Exodus 15 from verse 22 to chapter 16, verse 26. So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea. Then they went into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. Now when they came to Marah, they could not drink the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah, literally meaning bitter. And the people complained against Moses, saying, "What shall we drink?" So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. When he cast it into the waters were made sweet. There he made a statute and an ordinance for them. And there he tested them, and said, "If you diligently heed the voice of the Lord your God, and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you." Then they came to Elim, where there were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees, so they camped there by the waters. I'll just read that part for now. Now, I was supposed to have all the kids here in front and going to be directing at them because it's supposed to be a family service. So my first little question was, who of you have been on a trip to somewhere far away? There we go, some people. And was it a quick trip? No. Okay. And it's exciting when you first leave and go on the trip, isn't it? But after a while, you start to ask a certain question, and we all should know what that question is. Are we there yet? Now, for the parents, imagine hearing that for 40 years. Are we there yet? Not so pleasant. And then the next question was, did you eat along the way? Now, there could be various ways. You could have taken food with and just ate in the car as you went. You could have stopped somewhere and eaten, or maybe stopped at like a garage and gone to the shop there, or to a restaurant or something. But when God took the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt and they were traveling to the Promised Land, they had food and water with them, but that would have started to run out. And again, there's no shops or restaurants, so what were they going to do? And they got to this water here. But what did they do when they got to that water? Did they cry out to God? Did they seek him? Did they ask Moses nicely? From what we understand, they didn't. They murmured. And again, to the children, and my kids don't have to answer because I know the answer. Have you ever murmured? I do too. Sure. My notes were easier to follow when I typed them out. That's what I normally do, but today they're written. Our murmurings are about small things, relatively speaking, but, they were in the desert and they didn't have any food or water with them, or it was running out. And I found online there's a survival rule of 3s. You can go for 3 minutes without air before you die. About 3 hours in extreme conditions, so extreme cold or extreme heat, without any assistance before you'll succumb to that. About 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. And when we read there, they traveled for 3 days. So they were starting to get desperate now for water, and that pressure was on. And so when they got to that water, and they must have been relieved, found this water, but now it's It says bitter. Now, I don't know if that means it was stagnant or polluted or just didn't taste good, but basically it's bitter. But then God shows Moses a tree, and that tree obviously being a picture of the cross, making the bitterness sweet. And then they could drink it. But then later in chapter 16, we start to read that now their food started to run out. I'm not going to read the full portion, but I'll carry on in chapter 16. And they journeyed from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they departed from the land of Egypt. Then the whole congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, "Oh, that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat, and when we ate bread to the full. For you have brought us into this wilderness to kill us, the whole assembly, with hunger." I can imagine their frustration. I mean, you go out into this wilderness, again, there's no stores, there's no bakery, there's nothing. And now your food is running out, and now you start to stress. So my next question for the kids was, when you're still traveling and the snacks run out, that's not too fun, is it? That's where the squealing starts. Sometimes it's the parents squealing. Anyway, but now you imagine there's not even breakfast or lunch, dinner, seconds, pudding. But now God gives them food. And my thought was to have the kids, well, if it was a Sunday school lesson, have them lie down and pretend to be sleeping. And I was going to I had various ideas of what to do. A bit of rice. I was thinking confetti or balls of paper or something, but yeah, the rice was about the best thing. And when they wake up, there's this stuff on the floor. What is it? Literally, that's what they said. What is it? That's what translates to manna. And maybe I should get some of the kids to come up and collect some. No, they're all too shy now because there's so few of them. It's only mine. It's fine. But if you can imagine the sight of them picking up the manna, because it appeared with the dew, and when the dew evaporated, there was the manna. And if you look at that picture of them collecting the manna, it's a humble position, isn't it? It's bent over, maybe even on all fours, maybe kneeling. It's a submissive sort of position. And God also gave them quail for meat, because they even complained about the meat. Now, if you think about that, you've got manna, which is kind of like breadcrumbs in a sense, and you've got quail. If they'd taken that and put them together, they could have had their version of KFC. Maybe WFQ, Wilderness Fried Quail. So that was supposed to be the entertainment for the kids. Hopefully mine were, and you were too. But my point is, God already knows what we have need of. In Luke 12:22-30, if we turn there. Luke chapter 12, from verse 22 to verse 30. Then he said to his disciples, "Therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, nor about the body, what you will put on. Life is more than food, and the body is more than clothing. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, which have neither their storehouse nor barn, and God feeds them. Of how much more value are you than the birds? And which of you, by worrying, can add 1 cubit to his stature? If you then are not able to do the least, why are you anxious for the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, and yet I say to you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothes the grass, which today is in the field and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O you of little faith? And do not seek what you should eat or what you should drink, nor have an anxious mind. For all these things the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knows that you need these things. You can add verse 31 too. But seek the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. So we know that He knows that we need these things, and He knows that even before we ask them. But He wants us to go to Him and ask Him. He delights in our seeking Him out and spending time with Him, talking to Him. Sometimes not just prayer of intercession or whatever, but just time to talk with Him and spend time with Him, and in His Word too. And He is a good God. He provides all our needs on a daily basis. So it's not just the big things that you ask for, it's the small, everyday, today living. You know, He's merciful, He's compassionate and kind. And the thought occurred to me, imagine if He wasn't just one of those things. If He wasn't merciful, or if He wasn't patient. I think I would have been done away with long ago if He wasn't. So He's not just rescued us the same way that, well, not exactly, but you know what I mean, that Israel was saved out of Egypt. He has saved us from sin. But then on top of that, He has given us gifts, and He has provided all of our needs. And so my main thrust, if you will, for the year to come, as we're at the beginning of a new year, look to Him. Keep your focus on Christ. Seek Him who is the true bread that has come down from heaven, and He will sustain your spirit. You know that saying, you are what you eat? For some people, especially Americans, then they are unhealthy and fast, I guess, from the fast foods. But it's true in the spiritual sense. You know, what are you spending most of your time focused on? What you regularly consume with your mind is what will be that shaping influence in your life. If it's mostly on movies or music, sports, politics, business, none of those things are bad in and of themselves. Maybe some movies and music, yeah, but if they are taking the most important place in your life, taking up all of your time, then, you know, you're not living a healthy spiritual life. We've got to keep in mind that all these things are still back in Egypt. And we are going through the wilderness of this world, and we need to look to Him for I can't pronounce things today, for sustenance. And it's not in the things that He gives, but it's Christ Himself. And just to sort of close off, if we go to Gospel of John, and in chapter 6, from verse 47 to 51. Most assuredly I say to you, he who believes in me has everlasting life. I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that one may eat of it and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. And this bread that I shall give is my flesh, which I shall give for the life of the world. Again, not to get the confused idea that some people have that literally His flesh is meat, but we are to feed on His word. He is the word, the living word. And just an encouragement to spend time seeking the Lord, look to Him, feed on His Word daily. After all, in the prayer that is so often called the Lord's Prayer, it's give us this day our daily bread. And yes, it's talking about literal food as well, but mostly the spiritual food.